really like something, you want to tell everybody else about it. And I just
Right.
I find joy in running. It's truly my favorite thing. And I would say just what's been built over the last few years with my run club is just so fun. The community that's been built, they will meet up to do their homework runs together. And we have a Facebook group, and they'll message, or they'll share pictures from their run, oh, look at this sunset on my run, or they'll share their data from their app or whatever, and they'll be oh, here were my splits of this. And so it's just cool how it connects people. And I think that fitness in general, it connects people.
Welcome to the Erie Wellness Podcast, your go-to source for all things health, wellness, and living your best life right here in Erie. I'm your host, Lauren Brunetti, and I'm so excited to have you here. Each episode will dive into conversations with local experts and wellness professionals who are making an impact in the world of health and well-being. Before we jump in, be sure to like, share, and comment on this episode. We love hearing from you and seeing our community grow. Now let's get started. Welcome back to the Erie Wellness Podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by Heather Abrahamson, co-founder of the Training Ground in Lafayette. She's also a trainer, a run coach, and wife and mom of 2 girls. Heather has a deep passion for running, healthy living, and inspiring others to build strength and longevity through fitness. Welcome to the Erie Wellness Podcast, Heather.
Thank you. It's so fun to be able to chat with you today.
Heather, you've built an incredible career in the fitness industry and wellness space. Can you take us back to how your journey began and what inspired you to follow this career path?
Well, thanks again for having me. I grew up in Boulder, Colorado. So anybody who's in Colorado understands just the lifestyle that we live here. It's very health driven and very active. So that was kind of my childhood that I grew up with and sort of all I knew. So I grew up in sports, and my family was just very outdoorsy. We hiked a lot, camped, played outside all the time as kids. When I went to school for college, I went to Colorado State University and decided to study health and exercise science. And I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with that. I just knew I liked that field of study. And I ended up pursuing more of the preventative side rather than, the other side of health where you end up in the hospital and things like that. So I got a job in college at a gym when I was 20. And really that's where my passion for fitness really grew. I was just sort of poured into by the trainers there, by the managers there, just kind of all the different aspects of what a health facility looks like and what training looks like. And so that's sort of where it started to build momentum. And I've never looked back since. I've done a little bit of everything from being, in club management, as well as one-on-one training, group training, youth training. I've become a run coach. So I've sort of done a lot. Oh, and then wellness programming. So a lot of different things in the fitness world, but it's just been so fun. And yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Over the last 15 years, what do you feel like has changed about the health and wellness space?
Okay, I would say first and foremost is your movement. Before, people running became a big thing. Was it, in the 70s or something? And people would just run, and that was all you would do. And then, people started getting hurt. And so then it was what is that about? And so then we started to look at mobility issues or training in different planes of motion. And, we need to be doing strength training. And so I think it's just the more that's come out, we've just learned how to have a better full view and approach of a person's body of not just doing one thing all the time, because that repetition of one thing is going to wear out that one, area of the body. So to protect that, and we look at that especially with the youth, right? People or kids who specialize too early, they're the ones who end up getting hurt because they're just not as well-rounded of athletes. And that repetition at such a young age over and over and over again, while they can spike early as a really great athlete, long-term, you start to see the decline. So it's better to keep them well-rounded and build them as a dynamic, just mover, and then let that play out over the years of just being being able to think better on the field, whatever sport they're doing, be able to react differently because they've had multiple sports. So I think I look at that with my clients too. It's all about longevity here. We want to make them move well. We want them to be strong. I also want them to have that underlying, cardiovascular fitness that is really true health. And so I think there's just like a lot of aspects that we've learned and gotten better at as like fitness professionals. It's not just about being huge and bulky and big, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but there's a lot more to health than just on the outside image too.
That's a really great point. And looking at different ways that you are moving your body, like even throughout the week, the month, and making sure you are diversifying it so that different like parts of your body just don't get worn out and beat up.
It's so true. And like, truly, that's one, I think that helps people not burn out. Like, I think that's a part with people. They get so excited to try this new fitness program. And I'm really going to try this year. It's January 1st. I'm going to take my fitness and do it. And they burn out. And it's one, because they don't have a plan. Secondly, they may not have accountability. But a lot of it is because they're not providing enough variety. And so like after 2 or 3 weeks, I would get bored too, doing the same thing all the time. Right. So not only is it better to add variety, but for the longevity of it, it's like mix it up a little bit. You should have some cardio. You should have some strength. You should have some mobility type things, something a little bit lower pace, whether it's a yoga or Pilates or something, the variety is so important for mental and physical health. So yeah.
Which for people that are focused on calories and burning calories, then they're just, they don't want to sit through maybe necessarily like a yoga class because they know I'm not going to burn as many calories as I would like if I wasn't doing a HIIT class or something. But it's so important, like a part of the big picture, I think, as well.
Because that sort of falls into like the recovery category. Some of those classes, not all yoga classes, but a lot of that does. And like recovery is such a big piece of a fitness program, right? Like if you're hitting it hard every single day, you can only keep that up so long. And so like we do need to, whether it's just a walk, like, hey, I'm just going to go have a nice, easy 30-minute walk and listen to a podcast, the Erie podcast, and like that is doing a lot of good for the body. But you do need those days where you're going to be spiking the heart rate and have higher intensity and stuff. But a nice steady walk is a beautiful thing to build in, So once again, like my whole preface is preventative health and longevity and creating a lifestyle. And how that's done is by not burning yourself out and approaching it different than I think a lot of us have seen or done in the past.
Well, and you run marathons too. Yeah. So you have to train hard, but you also have, it's like train hard, play hard, like that saying too. Yeah. But so you're a wife, you're a mom, and an athlete yourself. So how do you make fitness like fun for you? And also how do you make it a family thing?
Yeah. So once again, it goes back to lifestyle. So in our family, we just make it part of our day to day. We run, we skip, we play, we jump, we do all those things, right? And for us, having girls in run club at school is super important. Like we do that 20 minutes before school, 3 days a week. They get there, they run, they move their bodies. They're learning a healthy habit right now. And to them, they're just going to school a little early to run with friends. Like that's how it's seen. And when we come home, we do quiet time for a little bit, decompress, but then we go play at the park or we go ride bikes or, like sometimes if one of my daughters is melting down on the way home from school, I'm like, hey, why don't you and I do a little walk around the cul-de-sac when we get home? And we just hold hands and we walk. And it's like being in nature, moving our bodies, which there's so much benefit to that, especially outside. And so it's just little moments like that to build in. With me racing a lot, like this year, for example, I'm running one race a month. It's not always super long. It might be a 5K, it might be a 10K, it might be a half, but that was kind of my goal this year. But my girls and my husband, they come to my races and they cheer me on and they watch me. And when I'm, doing workouts leading up to races, I'll talk about it. I was like, oh, mommy was at the track at 5 a.m. today. I did a workout with some friends. And so it's just in our day-to-day conversation. It's just like built in as a normal activity. It's not seen as weird or like, it's never something where I'm like, oh, I have to go to the gym. It's like, no, mommy has to go train because, I'm getting ready for my race and I got to go run some miles. And And so to them, they're being exposed at a young age that this is our life. We play. That's what we do. And I even tell my clients at the gym when they come after work, I'm like, you guys are at your playground. This is the adult playground. Like, how fun is this to end your day here, throwing some weights around, getting the heart rate up, just like kids do at the park. They're hanging on monkey bars. They're going down the slide. They're swinging on the swings. Like, to me, the gym is an adult playground. That's how we see it at our gym. It's like people have so much fun. They're hanging out with their friends and they're doing a workout and sweating, and it's great. So a lot of it is like a mindset thing. With our girls, like, I've worked with a lot of women, especially over the years, that have so many damaging thoughts from growing up with what fitness was, as well as their relationship with food. And those go so hand in hand when you're talking about health and fitness. And so the way we speak about it in our home and like in life is that we eat to fuel our bodies. We do this. And I'm like, oh, why are we eating this? And the girls know, they say to be healthy and strong. And I'm like, that's how food is seen in our house. And that doesn't mean they don't get treats by any means. There's no but it also means the majority of the time we're choosing, a fruit or a veggie or something that's going to nourish them and give them energy to go play. And so I think the family thing so important is like bringing them into it, since they've seen me race a lot. I have a 7 and a 5-year-old. They've done 1 mile kids races. We've done 5K this weekend, the Erie. I don't know when this is being released, but we're doing the Erie. And then Finley, my 7-year-old, she did the Boulder this year, which was incredible. It's a 10K.
Yeah.
And so that's
what is it, 6.2 or something?
Yeah, 6.2. And so that's like a big deal for a 7-year-old, but it's just like, there was no pressure there. It was like, we're going to go have fun. We can walk it. We can do all the things along the way. So I think it's all about how you present it to your kids. It's how you and your significant other show that it's part of your life on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be every day. But it's just part of your life, just like anything else. Like, mommy goes to work, daddy goes to work. You guys go to school. Oh, here are the things we do as a family, so I think that it doesn't have to be as extreme as us. I know, like, that's kind of our whole life. I always joke, like, my only hobbies are fitness. So I'm like, you don't have to be as extreme, but there are ways to weave it in to a family's life, which is so foundational for these kids. Like, I get so passionate about this. I'm like, I have no doubt my girls are going to have healthy habits later in life as adults because of the habits we're doing now.
But you have to make that mindset shift, because so many parents, they're coming home from work and they're tired, and it is hard. It's like, oh, I wish I'll just like let the kids play and I'll just like pick up the kitchen and then go sit on the couch. But it's like, no, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to move my body. But you have to like make it a priority for sure.
Totally. And like you said, it's a mindset thing. I wonder like how many of us just like, we're tired, right? So we want to zone out. I grab my phone, I get on Instagram. Before I know it, 10 minutes has gone by. I could have easily done a half-mile walk with my family around the block in those 10 minutes. And that would have been more life-giving to me and my family and more connection time and better for my brain than scrolling here for 10 minutes to zone out, And so it's just like, are they sacrifices? For sure. I mean, everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. But that's like something that to me is worth it. I'm like, I'm going to feel much better when I walk in that door than after jumping off of my Instagram for 10 minutes and feeling like more drained or like more anxious or anything, So, but yeah, it is a mindset thing. And it's a shift in just movement and life. And how do I navigate this day to day?
For anyone now that's like you're like, I'm doing a run every month. Like, how do you even do that? And when do you train? Like, how does that even fit into your lifestyle?
I know.
Just out of curiosity.
It is like actually planning 1 a month is actually way harder than I thought, because it's like you have kids sports and like on Sundays we have church and I train at the gym once or twice a month on Saturdays. And so like, and then plus you have like people's birthday parties or we're out of town this weekend. And so all of a sudden I'm like looking at my calendar. So I'm like looking forward to a month where I need to book a race. And I have one day like of a Saturday or Sunday that I can actually race, So I mean, it's been actually way more challenging than I expected. but it's possible. It's just planning, like anything. It's like you want to go on a vacation, you look at your calendar and you plan it. You pick a weekend you're able, and that's kind of how it is. I'm like, okay, I have this one Saturday morning, there's one Sunday morning, and there's always races. Any Saturday or Sunday you want to race within our vicinity, there's a race. So
that was my next question. I was like, is there a lot to choose from?
I mean, here in Colorado, it's every weekend all over. I mean, I would probably have 5 or 6 races most weekends to pick from. Maybe not in the colder months as much, but there's still races to choose from. I know that's not everywhere, depending where you're listening from. That may not be your environment, but there are tons of races all over. So it just depends on how far you're willing to travel, I guess. But for me, I'm like usually within 30 minutes to an hour, I can be at a race. So
do you look at your schedule ahead of time and like plan out like your training schedule? Like, how do you do that? Or what's your advice to people?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on the race. If it's my fitness, like running wise, is high enough that I can just go run a 10K, no problem. A half marathon, I still like to do some critical build to it. And then same for a full. I committed myself to not do a full marathon this year. And it's kind of like going back to what you had said before. It's just a lot, right? And so it's like, I felt the burnout. Like, as much as I love running and love fitness, I felt burned out. And so I was like, this year, I just wanted to run for fun and just pick whatever I felt like. And however I toe the line that day, if I feel like racing it, I can. And if I feel like it's more of just a fun run, I can. So I think, like, even when you choose a race, like, decide, like, how are you doing this? Is this just to like do it, like to check the box? Or are you choosing to like race it and you have a goal time?
Right. Like, is this your PR that you're going for? Or?
Yeah. Like, everyone's going to be different when they're towing the line. Or it could be like, maybe you had a goal and then you get to race day and you were sick the 2 days before and your kid woke you up all night the night before. And you just are showing up and you're like, you know what? I have to scratch that goal. I'm not going to be able to hit it. And that's okay. Like, that's life, right? But you still showed up and you're going to do it. Depending on the race, like longer stuff, you do have to like plan it out in advance, right? So whenever I have clients say like, oh, I really want to do a half marathon. Okay, awesome. Do you have a race picked out? No. Okay, well, that's your first job, is to find one, because then we can put it on the calendar and you can work backwards of like, how do you build yourself to get there? So there is like progression, right? To get you to the start line. But so, yeah, I mean, I'm constantly training, but I would say I go in cycles where I'm like at a higher level versus like, not that I'm an in-season, off-season person, but a time when you sort of feel off-season and you're not training specifically or increasing your volume or time on feet for a race.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your run club. So when did you start doing it?
So I opened Training Ground in 22. Okay. And so I started my run club. My 2 business partners and we were with a franchise before. And so I actually started my run club while I was doing my franchise. And it was more of like a pilot. They had kind of pitched the idea to me like, hey, would you want to pilot a run club, see how it goes? They gave me no like sense of direction. It was sort of like, just try. And I was like, okay. So I like researched a lot. Like, what does this look like? What are run certifications? All of that. So I got run certified. Did my run club. I had good traction with current clients, which was really fun, and tried some different things out. And so it's kind of evolved. And now it is like, I run it through my gym now. It's my own thing that I run through the gym, but obviously it's marketed as part of Training Ground. But yeah, so it's evolved and I feel like I've figured out like how I like it and like what we do and the what people enjoy, and then also how they can like progress. And so, yeah, we do it a few times a year. I usually do a spring season and a fall season. And then this summer, everybody really wanted a summer season. So I did a 4-week, like short little summer run club too.
How do you organize it so that it's for people with no running experience and like seasoned run club people?
Yeah, it's a good question. I always have every workout I program have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced option. Okay. So they're doing the same workout. It just might have different pacing or different reps. So if we're doing like, let's say a ladder workout, for example, let's say we're doing a 200 meter, a 400 meter, 600, 800, 1,000, 8, 6, 4, 2. So it's like going up and back down, and there's like recoveries in there. My beginners, they may only ladder up to 800. And then my intermediate, they might ladder to 800 and back down. And then my advanced are laddering to 1,000 and back down.
Is
and
that
so
1,000 yards?
Yeah, 1,000 meters.
Oh,
so
meters.
that'd be like 2.5 laps around the track. And when we're doing like track workouts, we call them quality workouts. So they're fast, like you're doing speed work overall. Okay. And everyone's speed's different. And that's what's so awesome about the track. It's an oval, right? I can pretty much see everyone out there. You feel like you're with everybody. Even if I'm over there and you're over there, I know we're all out there doing it together. It's so fun. And the people kind of naturally sync up with their paces. So like I have, some people are like super fast and they're sort of like pacing off each other, or like one's kind of the rabbit. And then I have people more of like that intermediate speed. And then I have some slower people. And there's 8 lanes. There's plenty of space for people to spread out or go around and all of that. So, so I do that as far as like at the track, and then they get homework every week. So it's usually like 2 additional run workouts. And it's the same thing. I have them programmed based off beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And so what's cool is like people start to like, you place yourself. So maybe you're like, I'm a beginner. I'm just going to do this. This is my easy run this week. It's 20 minutes and I can walk as needed. And, I give them little notes and all that. And then, maybe 4 weeks into run club, they're like, I feel like I could do the intermediate, and like I have these workouts for them that week. And they're like, I think I can do that. And so then they get to start to progress and see that change in their own body and their paces and all the things. So that's really fun.
Why do you think, because when we first started talking, it was like, well, what are the main things that you want to like talk about? And one of the things you were like is run club, I'm really passionate about right now. Like, where do you think that passion is coming from?
Probably just because it's my favorite thing to do. Like when you really like something, you want to tell everybody else about it. And I just I find joy in running. It's truly my favorite thing, hobby and passion, and thing that like sets goals for myself that I keep trying to work towards. And I would say just like what's been built over the last few years with my run club is just so fun. Like the community that's been built, they like will meet up to do their homework runs together. And we have like a Facebook group, and they'll like message, or they'll share pictures from their run. Like, oh, look at this sunset on my run. Or they'll share their data from their app or whatever. And they'll be like, oh, here were my splits of this. And so it's just cool how it like connects people. And I think that fitness in general, it connects people. Like it's, you have the CrossFitters, and all the CrossFitters talk CrossFit, and they have their words that they use, like, oh, what was your WOD of the day? And this and that. And then you have the runner world, and all the runners talk about their runs. And so it's a fun way to connect and enjoy something together, especially as adults, like it's hard to find shared hobbies that people can all like do together and talk about. So I think that's why I find so much joy on the track with people and helping coach them through, questions with their running and all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, one thing that I always want to make sure that people know that this podcast is about is like community wellness. Like we need our community, and it's so much better to be in community and enjoying life and the things that we do outside, like in it. So
yeah, I want to share a story on that. Like, I had a new gal join my run club that just finished, and we've been friends, and she's a runner. I know that we've run together, but she's never been in my run club. And she messaged me before this last one, and she goes, hey, I'm signing up for your run club this time. I was actually shocked. I was like, oh, really? That's awesome. Cool. I'll see you at the track. And she was like, she's like, I don't get a lot of time with other adults and people. And I'm up early before my family to run. And she's like, this is the best way I can do both together. And I just thought that was so cool that she pieced that together, that like, one, she wanted to connect with people. And secondly, she wanted to get her runs in with other people. And so she just made it happen. And I was like, that's so cool, So it is, it brings people together.
For someone that is new to running, what advice do you have on how to get started?
Start slow. And like, so I would say not every day. And start like, it could be just like 2 to 3 times a week for 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, it kind of depends where your base level of fitness is. Maybe you have like no level of fitness, but maybe you're like, oh, I've been working out a lot, but I haven't really been running a lot. But so start slow, because when we go from not doing a lot to very extreme, like either a super long run or just like super high miles over a week, that's where people get hurt and like fast. Like all it takes is one run and you can be like, bam. So start slow. And the second thing is have good shoes. So many people's tennis shoes are so bad. I'm like, go buy yourself some new tennis shoes, because that like every impact you make on the ground is like shooting up the body. And so you just need to have a good pair of running shoes. So I would encourage you to go to a running store. There's a lot in Boulder. There's some in Louisville or in Longmont, and have them look at how you walk. They do like gait assessments, and they'll either put you on like a platform, and like they have these electronic things. This in Boulder, they do this, or they'll put you on a treadmill and watch you. So then they can recommend like a good pair of shoes for you. But that's super important, because when you think about like any fitness thing, there's some type of equipment you have to invest in. And for running, it's your tennis shoes. So get good shoes, start slow. And I would encourage you to find someone to do it with, but sometimes it's nice to just like have that be your time too. But if you think you need that accountability, or you would enjoy having someone to chat with while you're going, then find a friend or a buddy or a run club or something. The other thing I would say, just as far as like injury prevention, because I have to do this because it's important, is just making sure that we're like foam rolling and stretching, because things are going to get tight, especially as you first start getting back into the sport. And so you just have to make sure you're keeping like, especially your lower body, like stretched out, loose, because that's how like things will pop up, is like, oh, my knee's starting to hurt, or my calves are super tight. So now I'm compensating and I'm running really weird or whatever. And then obviously strength training is important, because it keeps you strong in your run. And so like a lot of runners in the past never strength trained. They would just run. And now like the more powerful, stronger, healthier runners are runners who are strength training 2 to 3 times a week. So it's almost sometimes better to like scale back on the running just a little bit and build in your strength. And it actually makes you more powerful in your run.
Which goes back to our like very first part of our conversation. Like you have to diversify, not only for like our physical bodies, but also just for enjoyment too, right? You're going to get burnt out if you're just doing like long distance all the time. So
for sure.
What would you say are some misconceptions about running that come to mind for you?
Okay. It's a big one. And if you're an older generation, you've heard this a lot. It's so bad for your knees. So like, yes, your knees take an impact, but so do your hips. So, I mean, your whole body does. But that really comes down to multiple things. It comes down to form. It comes down to making sure you're strength training, right? Like, I know I'm still young. I'm 38. So it's like my knees don't feel it yet. And I'm sure later in life, I'll probably feel it. So it's easy for me to say now. But a lot of it is like, if you're doing your strength training, you're doing your glute work, keeping your quads healthy, you're keeping yourself like moving well. So mobility training is huge for runners. If you do all of that stuff, like your knees are not going to be taking the impact the same as someone who doesn't, and where they're just like straight on pounding their knees. When you watch a runner who knows how to run and they're smooth, their knees are, that's just a joint. That's just cycling. That's just range of motion. That's not taking the impact, more than anything else, really. I mean, yes, it's impact, but so that's a big misconception. Like,
no, I mean, I've heard it lots of times. Yeah.
And I'm sure my knees may not be as healthy as other people's later in life, but also there's a lot of people who are running in their 70s and 80s and their knees are fine. So partly it's biomechanical. Like none of us are created exactly built the same way. So like you will look at some people and biomechanically, I'm like, ugh, that run is just like, I don't even think you can fix that. Like, and it's just because their body is built in a way that's not a runner's body. And then there's some people whose bodies are built to run. My husband's always like, you were built to run. And I'm like, I know, I love it. And
you look so graceful.
I'm like, thank you, I know. And I'm not like, I was not a collegiate runner or anything. It's just like, my body can do it and it handles the miles. But some people's bodies, like really, you should maybe cycle, or maybe you should do some other like swim or something like that. But so that's a big misconception in the sense of like, yes, your knees take impact, but there's a lot of ways to prevent the wear and tear of your knees. I would say one I hear at run clubs sometimes and from other runners is, I can't run fast. Like, that's not true. You can. And so what it is they don't understand the different gears in their body. They think they only have one speed. And I'm like, I can reel them in. I can make them go really slow, because a lot of times people just like go and it's like pretty fast. And I'm like, Okay, but you're not gonna be able to last for 6 miles doing that. So let's reel you back for a second, go slower, and then you can start to play with gears. And how do you get faster? You practice run faster. All of a sudden, you start putting people on a straightaway and you tell them to run fast, they can run fast. And so I think that's part of it too, is like there are gears in the body, we just don't know how to use them. And that's practice, like anything. And then I would say another one, I wouldn't say this is a misconception, but something that I hear a lot is just like, I hate running. And I'm like, that's fair. You don't have to run. There's other things you can do. I never want people to feel like just because I love it, that they should love it. Like there's a lot of other stuff you should do, but go find something that you do love. Do I think running is great? Yes. I will say when you look at the 7 primal movement patterns, one of them is gait. So that's walking or running or carrying. So like we do farmers carries, we do like overhead carries, those types of things. But like functionally, right? Like you're carrying groceries, you're carrying a baby thing, you're carrying stuff out to the field for soccer practice. Like those are carries. And what are you training? You're training your gait while you're carrying heavy load. So I always encourage, it doesn't have to be a run, but I need you to train your gait in some capacity, because that's what we do in life. Like we walk around, we run around, we move, right? And if you want to have a healthy, long life without declining like this, then you need to train your gait. But yeah, so I would encourage you. You don't have to be a runner, people out there, but train.
Yeah, not everyone listening to this episode, go join a run club. It might not be for you.
No, not at all. But do like go walk or go jog or go carry some heavy things down your driveway and back.
Yeah. For those people though that are interested in running and maybe they're already starting some running, like what are some form things that you can easily like verbally say, like on a podcast episode, that are important when you're running?
So the 2 biggest ones I look at first is like where their foot hits the ground. So like you don't want your foot hitting out in front of your body. So if you imagine like you're striding and your leg's way out here and my body's back here, my foot's out here, that's called a braking force. So yeah, are your knees going to take that? For sure. That impact hitting way out in front of your body is going to shoot up like that. You want to be landing your foot under your hips, so under your body. And that's like the safest way to land. So I always will watch people's strides and like where they're landing. If you're landing too far out in front of you, all you have to do is shorten your stride. So your legs you're going to be making more contact. So we say like increase your cadence, more contact, but you're hitting under your hips. So just don't lengthen. My husband's guilty of this. I yell him all the time, like you're overstriding. That's why your knee hurts. Like bring it in. So there is a little bit of that, but the easiest way is just focus on your cadence, just more steps. They used to have this rule of thumb. It was like 180 steps per minute when you're running. But instead of like worrying about that, just like try increasing, you can just try increasing it, I would say, is like your goal to start. The other biggest thing I look at is posture. So, and that's from like your head down. So you want to be leaning slightly from your ankles. You want your shoulders rolled back and down. You don't want your eyes down. I see a lot of runners who like look down here as they're running, right? You want to have like your eyes up and ahead. You sometimes have to glance down depending on the terrain, but eyes up. Your form with your arms, you're going cheek to cheek pretty much. You don't want a lot of cross body. That's wasted energy. You want to be going forward and back. You want to make sure you're driving through your hips. So your hips are open and pushed forward. And then we talk about leg turnover, which is kind of hard to explain on here, but it's just like the cycle of your leg, how your leg's coming up in front of you, under your hip, and then cycling behind your glute. So that's just like a big circle. And then obviously the faster you go, the like bigger and quicker that turnover is. But those are just like the big ones. Just think posture and relax. Like I always see like people's tension will be in their jaws or their shoulders or their hands. And I'm just like, relax. Let's smooth it out. Calm down. Because if you stay calm, you're going to feel more calm in the run. But as soon as you start tightening up or your shoulders start walking to your ears, then you're like tightening up, like your whole run, you're going to breathe different. Everything's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So run tall, run relaxed, all that good stuff.
Which is why you kind of need a coach. If you just go out and just start running, you have no idea how your form is, and
Yeah.
if
And
you're
some people are
struggling,
really natural. Like you'll see some people are like natural runners. I even see it in kids. I'm like, wow, look at that kid's form. And then some people, it is like, no. Why is your arm over here? And like, why is your leg doing that? Like, why are your legs kicking out like this? Like, so you just like gotta get it all in line. It's all form correction. And there's like drills. I mean, this is like I'm kind of just going on skimming the top, but there's like drills and stuff to reinforce when there's someone that really is struggling with certain running technique. There's drills that you can give them to reinforce good natural patterns and movement. So
even strength training, I'm sure there's specific things you need to be doing.
Because a lot of it with runners is glute weakness. And so a lot of times when you see like hip drop, or legs externally going out, it's like all rooted in the glutes. And so as soon as you start getting them to do some of that and some tracking with their legs with lunges and stuff, it'll clean up pretty quick. So
being a business owner and like a Erie resident, like what do you love most about this Erie? Your business is in Lafayette, but what do you love most about this area?
Like I love all the activities, the parades, the events we do. It's just so fun. And then obviously I love the trail systems here. There's so many beautiful trails that connect all the neighborhoods and even take you to Lafayette. Like I can run to my gym and have my husband meet me there so I don't have to run home. But it's just like amazing. Like what a great community we live in to have that. There's so many places in this country that don't have trail access like we do. And just the sweet small town feel still. Like Friday night lights, like people love going to the Erie football games and all this stuff. So I just love that about Erie so much.
Yes, we're very lucky to live in such a wonderful community.
Yeah.
Heather, what is one last message that you would like to leave with our listeners after hearing today's conversation?
I would just encourage everybody to find a healthy lifestyle that they can continue for them and their families. It matters so much just for you to be able to enjoy this life you've been given. And if you have children, it matters so much with how you like teach and train and are an example to them. And so I just would encourage that. Our country has gotten really unhealthy. And so I love that you're doing this podcast and I love all the different aspects of health that are in our community. And so just as more from the fitness side, I just would encourage people to like really focus on like, what does that look like to create a healthy lifestyle for me and my family? And it's little things and it's consistency day in and day out, just little things that will really start to build those bricks of health and habits for your family.
Thank you, Heather, so much for all of those little nuggets that you have given us throughout today's episode. I love you. I love how you remind us that really strength is built through consistency, community, and in really just believing in what you're capable of. And then thanks for tuning in. And remember, when you feel better, you do better. Thanks again, Heather.
Thank you.
All right, friends, before we wrap up, here's the part I need to share. This podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only. I'm just your friend behind the mic. Nothing shared on this podcast creates a patient relationship with any of our guests or replaces the guidance of your physician, professional coach, or other qualified expert. And the views shared by guests are entirely their own and don't necessarily reflect the beliefs or values of the Erie Wellness Podcast. My goal is to simply create a space for real, open conversations that help us all learn, grow, and feel a little more connected on our wellness journeys. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you back here next time. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Erie Wellness Podcast. I truly appreciate you being a part of this journey. If you loved today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. For more daily wellness inspiration and behind-the-scenes content, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Erie Wellness Podcast. I can't wait to connect with you again soon.